Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you enjoy my content, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. I'm not going to take much of your time, I know everyone hates ads, but I do want to remind you I'm a narrator over on the Chilling app, so if you're looking for a lot more content that is ad-free, make sure you're following me over there. I've been a partner with the app pretty much since they launched, and now we have over 1,000 horror stories, over a dozen narrators, some of whom you know from YouTube, as well as full-length novels and exclusive series and Chilling originals. Not only that, you can choose your own ambient background noise at the click of a button, and it doesn't ruin the story. And did I mention it was ad-free? And you also have a sleep timer on there, which is amazing. We release hours of new stories every single week, so make sure to click the link in the description to download and start your free trial to see if you like it. Once again, want to give a huge shout out to Chilling. A buddy of mine started the app, he's another narrator on YouTube, Being Scared. So it's not some big corporation or anything. Just a bunch of us narrators loving horror and tired of YouTube being wonky. So check us out over there. And without any further ado, let's get into the video. Anthony Templet had a heartbreaking upbringing. Back in 2008, when he was just 5 years old, his father Burt Templet kidnapped him from his home in Texas. Burt had a history of being violent. Between 2001 and 2002 alone, he was charged with assault 3 times, although 2 of those cases were dismissed. He had been with Anthony's mother, Linda Thompson, for 10 years, and in that period of time, Burt subjected Linda to the worst kind of violence, be it physical, emotional, or mental. Even when Anthony was a baby, Burt would hold him with one hand while abusing Linda. In 2007, Linda decided to secure a protective order against Burt. But within 2 months of getting the protective order, Burt kidnapped Anthony. Linda wouldn't see her son again for 11 years. Burt had done something like this before when Anthony was just 7 months old. He basically wanted to hurt Linda, so he took away her son, knowing full well that Linda and Anthony had already started to develop a deep bond. Over the years, Burt convinced Anthony that Linda was a junkie who wanted nothing to do with him. Burt had resettled in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it's clear he didn't want his past coming back to haunt him. He did everything he could to keep Anthony from finding out the truth about his family back in Texas. Meanwhile, Anthony's mother and other family posted missing posters around Baton Rouge, knowing full well that Burt had family in the area. But despite their efforts, nothing came up. Anthony remained missing. Meanwhile, Burt became even more obsessive and controlling. He didn't allow Anthony to even go to school. He kept Anthony from experiencing the outside world in general. And he also started to track Anthony's movements whenever he could. At their home in Louisiana, Burt installed cameras and made sure to track Anthony on his mobile phone too. Over the many years Anthony lived with Burt, he barely made contact with the outside world. The other person who regularly featured in his life was Susan Templet, his stepmother. Susan took over homeschooling Anthony, teaching him kindergarten topics like writing letters and basic math lessons. At the time, Anthony was already 10, so he was far behind education-wise. Susan went on to teach Anthony addition, subtraction, and multiplication. But Burt told her to stop teaching Anthony math, since he could just use a calculator anyway. And not surprisingly, Susan was also a victim of Burt's abusive and over-controlling nature. He kept track of so many things that she did. Even when the car's engine would stop, he would be notified of that on his phone. Unsurprisingly, Burt and Susan's relationship was tumultuous. In January 2019, she secured a protective order against Burt. In the process of doing so, she revealed a lot about how violent Burt was toward her. There was one time he threw a radio and space heater to the ground, then punched her. Just a month before that, he punched and knocked a tooth out of her mouth. That day, as Susan washed her wounds, Burt threatened her further, saying he would cut her into little pieces. Susan had enough of Burt. He would abuse and demean her, even throwing her wedding ring and forcing her to go find it. He controlled every aspect of her life relentlessly. He had a mobile app that he used to track everything she was doing. If Susan went grocery shopping, Burt would know how many bags she was returning home with. Sadly, nobody knew what life was like for Anthony or Susan. Burt was able to keep the secret of the hellish environment he had fostered for his wife and son. Neighbors thought he was odd, but they didn't really know the real Burt, and Burt preferred it that way. He had, after all, kidnapped his son, so the last thing he wanted was anyone snooping around and uncovering all the crimes he committed against his family. In June of 2019, Burt became suspicious of Anthony and suspected he may be keeping in touch with Susan. After everything that had transpired between Burt and Susan, the last thing he wanted was for his son to be talking to her. Burt went after Anthony, who was 17 at the time. Anthony tried everything he could to defend himself. He resorted to jumping into Burt's room where he shut the door behind him and then armed himself with a gun. And then Anthony let Burt, who was banging on the door, into the room. That's when he shot his dad 3 times, including in the head and torso. He then immediately picked up the phone and dialed 911 to fill them in on what had just happened.
Emergency.
I just killed my dad. What do I need to tell you?
So you said you just killed your dad?
Yeah.
Okay, and what's the address?
Is there any way for you to tell him? I can go check if you want.
Well, I need to make sure that's the correct address. Is it Green Moss? Green?
Grey?
It's gray? Gray?
Yeah, gray is like,
Okay.
You know
gray.
The color?
Mm-hmm. Gray Moss. And
Gray Moss Avenue.
hello?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's the correct number, the 17.
Yes.
Okay. And your phone number is 225. Okay, and is he still alive or?
He might be. I don't know. I think I shot him like 3 times. I think.
You shot him 3 times.
I'm not sure how many times I hit him. I know there's blood on the floor, so I know he's at least been shot once.
Okay.
I shot 3 times at him. He's on the ground.
Okay, you shot him 3 times with a gun?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
Or at least I tried to. He tried to attack me. We got into a fist fight, and I ran in his room and locked the door and grabbed the gun. And I unlocked the door, and he tried to and then I shot him.
Okay, and around what age is your father?
50-something.
Okay, 50.
Yeah, remember?
Okay.
Yes.
And are you there right now, or have you left?
No, I'm still here.
Okay. You still at your dad's house?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And what's your name?
Anthony Joseph Templet. Templet.
P-U-M-P?
T-E-M, like a temple,
Okay.
but add a T at the end.
Okay. Okay, and do you know exactly where you shot him at? The areas?
Yeah.
Where?
Excuse me?
Where?
The address I just gave you, I guess?
No, the different areas of his body.
I aimed for the head, but I might have hit him in the chest. I'm not quite sure. Are the cops coming? Is someone?
Yes, I have an ambulance on the way.
Okay.
Okay, sir, but I am going to transfer you over to another department. They have some additional questions to ask you, okay?
All right. Are you certain that the cops are coming to the right address? Like, I'm not 100% if I give you the exact right address.
The authorities arrived and arrested Anthony. initially charging him with second-degree murder, but the charge was later reduced to manslaughter. When his case started to garner media attention, his mother and half-sister heard about him and came to his rescue. Natasha told the news station they didn't know where Anthony was until he got arrested. She added that Anthony had been secluded and abused all these years by his own father. My brave brother had to defend himself for the last time against that evil man. As the case against Anthony wore on, a detective on the case expressed concern that Anthony didn't have any injury or bruises on him despite claiming that he had entered a fistfight with Burt. At the same time, many people were wondering how someone as violent as Burt could be roaming around free with no legal repercussions. Anthony's own legal counsel asserted that there was definitely a lot of abuse over the years. And in March of 2021, Anthony cut a deal by pleading no contest to negligent homicide. Anthony received 5 years of supervised probation with credit for the time he had already served following his arrest. Additionally, he was ordered to obtain his high school diploma, undergo counseling, and get a full-time job or enroll in school full-time. Essentially, if Anthony fulfills these conditions as laid out by the court, his record will be expunged. In the end, Anthony's lawyer felt the system had come through for Anthony, who had been given a second chance at life without his violent and oppressive father looming over him. Troy Morley was introduced to methamphetamine in February 2014. His life plummeted after that. He was a computer engineer and had a daughter, but he burned one bridge after another, which worsened his drug habits. One night while driving back to Utah from Nevada, Troy decided to stop at a hotel to rest. He was quite tired, but after spending some time in his room, he went out for a walk in the neighborhood. At the time, Troy was paranoid due to the meth he was consuming, and he claims to have not slept in about 6 days. While in this state, he crept into a house, right through the front door, which was left unsecured. The home belonged to Aaron Edson and his wife, Stephanie Edson. They had a daughter who was just 5 years old and afflicted with cerebral palsy. Sneaking into Aaron and Stephanie's daughter's room, Troy convinced her to follow him out of the house. The experience was obviously terrifying to the young girl. Thankfully, the noise they made as they left the home woke her parents up. Aaron followed Troy outside. He was calm as he approached him and asked him to let his daughter go. Troy seemed to be walking her to a desolate area by the fields. After a brief exchange of words, Troy did let the daughter go, then started blabbering about the FBI, people wanting to shoot him, and church before going on his way. Meanwhile, Stephanie called 911.
What's the address of your emergency? And your name?
Stephanie.
Okay, Stephanie, tell me exactly what happened.
There was a man in my home, and he took my 5-year-old daughter, and I happened to wake up, and he had my daughter outside, and my husband ran out there and got him from her.
Okay.
But he took my 5-year-old daughter.
All right. So, but you do have your daughter back now?
Yeah, he went and grabbed her, but he's out there somewhere, and my husband went and grabbed him, but he came in my home. My daughter's was in the basement and took my daughter out of the basement.
Okay. All right. Was the man white, black, or Hispanic?
Aaron, what color was he? He's white, and he's down the road.
All right. How old did he look to be?
I don't know. I didn't see him. My husband did. Aaron, I need you to go find him.
No, tell your husband to stay there. We're going to get the officers out. I need to know what he looks like so the officers can find him. Can you ask your husband for me how old he looked to be?
How old, Aaron? 40 to 50.
Okay,
bald.
He was bald? All right,
yes,
and what color shirt was he wearing?
What color of clothes, Aaron? Shorts and a t-shirt.
All right, and where is he at now? Down the street in which direction?
Yeah, he went. We live in a cul-de-sac, and he went south in our cul-de-sac.
All right. I'll get that information out to the officers.
Oh, please
right
hurry.
now. Okay, and how long ago did this happen?
This just happened. I ran outside. My husband was still carrying her in the house, and I grabbed my phone.
Were weapons involved or
within 10
mentioned?
minutes. No, but he was saying something that he's messed up, and someone's going to hurt him or something. But he took my daughter from my house.
Okay, I understand. That's, and we're going to get police out there as soon as possible. So how did he leave?
Lainey, did he take you from your bedroom? How did the man come in and take you? He was walking. He didn't have a car that I could see.
Okay. Do you know where he's going?
He said something about he was going to get shot, so he took my daughter. I don't know, but...
All right. And can you ask your husband what color of shirt the man was wearing? I know you said t-shirt and shorts, but...
I know, and my husband's gone outside.
Okay.
I don't know how he got in here. We must have fallen asleep with the door unlocked, but for him to come in here and have gotten to my children, they're in the basement.
Are you or anyone else in immediate danger?
No, but I don't know if this person is. He has my daughter.
We're getting police officers out there right now, okay? Does anyone need medical attention?
No, I don't think so. He looks like he's still dressed and everything. Oh, my God.
All right. All right, do not disturb anything at the scene. I guess you're not in contact with your husband, so did he go to try to find the person?
I think he did. When he went out in my car, he wouldn't be on foot. He's not that dumb, but he would go looking for him so he can...
We're going to have an officer dispatched as soon as possible. I need you to call us back immediately, or I'm going to stay on the line with you, okay? I'm not going to let you go, so just give me 1 second while I enter some information for the officers. And your daughter was in the basement, right? And he took her to the front yard?
Yeah, we heard the front door open. I heard her talking, and she's just the sweetest little thing. And I heard her voice, and we ran out. And my husband couldn't really see because he has contacts. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We just bolted because I heard the screen door, and so we just we both ran. Are you okay, Joey?
All right. Can you tell me what color, make, and model your vehicle is?
Yeah, it's a Ford Escape, brown.
What color is it? Brown?
Yeah, it's like a light brownish tan.
And what is he? White, black, or Hispanic?
I didn't see him at all. My husband said he's white.
No, not your husband. Because I don't want the officers to stop your husband. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? And that's, my husband is also, he's bald with a beard, a short shaved beard. He has on Chicago Bears pajama pants and a zip-up hoodie.
All right, and this wasn't someone that you guys knew at all, right?
No,
okay.
No.
Okay. All right, well, you just let me know if you see your husband or if you see the man, all right? And we have officers going getting there as fast as they can.
It looks like I see my car coming back down the road.
Okay.
Yeah, my husband is turning into my driveway now. I see police officer cars. Okay, thank you. They're here.
The officers are there? I'll let you go.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
The authorities charged Troy with child kidnapping, burglary, criminal trespassing, and interference with an arresting officer. But during his trial, Troy agreed to a plea deal, pleading guilty to 1 count of child kidnapping, while all the other charges were dropped. Stephanie was adamant that Troy should serve many years in prison for what he had done to their daughter, who referred to Troy as the scary thing. Troy himself had nothing but remorse for his actions. He apologized for what he did and stated that he also had a little girl, so he understood how much of a threat he must have been. He spoke about how he had a good job and a good life, and then gave all that up when he started taking meth. He reiterated, as his lawyers did, that he acted that way purely because of the drugs he was on. His lawyer added that Troy would have never harmed Aaron and Stephanie's young daughter in any sense. Not surprisingly, Aaron and Stephanie's daughter was so traumatized by the kidnapping that her parents had to get rid of any clothing that Troy touched, and Aaron had to be extra careful each time he entered his daughter's room to wake her up, since that frightened her too. The family even replaced furniture that brought back terrifying memories for their daughter, but seeing how difficult it was to cope despite their efforts, they decided to move. As far as Troy is concerned, after serving 6 years in prison, he'll be assessed by a parole board, who will determine if he would spend more time in prison. He was also added to the sex offender registry. I did do some more research trying to see if he did make parole. The last article I can see is from 2019, and it's the mother and everyone else trying to say, just keep him in jail, please. But I can't find out if he was ever approved. I hope not, but he should be on the sex offender registry list if so hopefully people have a warning. And he was sentenced to 6 years to life. So, parole possibility after the 6 years, so just figured I'd say that. I can't find if he was denied or accepted. And on that note, I really do appreciate you dropping in to check out this video. I'm extremely happy the little girl's okay in the last one, though probably not mentally. If you enjoy my style of video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and turn on that notification button. And don't forget to check me out on the Chilling app if you're trying to hear more of my beautiful narration. I'm saying that as a joke, I don't know, you guys like it. I don't like my own voice, so I'm kind of surprised by it too. But regardless, I appreciate you dropping in, and I hope you stay safe out there. And just remember, it's always scarier if it's true. My fan is making a buzzing. I hope it doesn't come up in the entire audio at the end. Bad bye.